Okay. Who are your allies? That's my show tonight. I'm only going to go on for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, depending on when James starts his Man and Talk with James show. Now, this is going to be quite a show, I guess. Depends. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot that's gonna happen, and we'll see how it all goes. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of get stuff ready, so bear with me. What I am going to do, so let's see. All right, I gotta make sure I'm online first. I am. I knew that, of course. I am going to pop out the chat so I can talk when needed. Let's just move that over. There we go. Need to make that there. People want to come on in. Come on in. We're doing a double header. It could be a long double header or triple header even if Dave ends up streaming after. Oh, did I do it again? What happened here? Wait, there's audio. There's got to be audio. Unless I'm going out of my mind. Can you hear me? Christian? Did I make another Joey? Okay. Bruins, you got me. You got me. No sound. Didn't mean no sound. You forgot the U. I got you. I'm on to you, buddy. All right. Early night tonight. So who are your allies? Not who are your friends. Allies is different. It's fighting a common enemy. But who are your allies? That's the episode tonight. That's the show. If you want to call this a show, come in. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about us. And there we go. We'll see what this brings. This could be quite a crazy night. Okay. Hey, Eric. How's it going? Hey, Christian. Shirley, how are you doing? Hi, Amanda. All right. Bruins. Hopefully I didn't forget anybody. I am still getting set up. I feel like it's weird. It felt like I haven't done this for a couple of days, and I probably haven't. I'm sorry for that. Making it with tonight. We got a double header, me and then James at 11 p.m. Eastern time, which is 8 p.m. I don't even know what it is. Western time? What's the West Coast Pacific time? There you go. I'm sorry. Hey, Chad, how's it going? All right. So feel free to come on in. I should probably post that I am on. Let's see. Let's see. 07 2018. And who are your allies? Who are your axes? Oh man, I didn't have an image put up, so it just always has Kurt Cobain and her daughter on. Oh well. All right, so I tweeted that. All y'all should be able to come in. Wow, that's a tweet storm and a half. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I am set up here. We are set to go. If anyone wants to come in, come on in. There's a lot of shows tonight. I am during prime time. It's competing against the big leagues. And I have a 0.001 on base percentage. I don't know what that means. 1 in 1,000 times I get on base. Well, shoot. I need a better analogy. Sports analogies are not my thing anymore. And Shirley, congratulations on your Eagles win. I wonder if you're sober now. Okay. So one thing I do want to show you, there's plenty of things that I'm going to show people, and whether you want to watch or not, that's your business. Okay. Um, let's see. Gab. Okay. Maybe we won't do it there yet. Yeah, we won't do it there yet. We'll do it. Oh, Sir Chad. How's it going? My name, instead of like Ebon Kim, I should be like Master and Commander. So whenever someone calls me, it's like, hey, Master and Commander. The Sir Chad, you got it right. How's fatherhood going?
Good, good. It's nice. I'm enjoying.
Tired?
Yeah, yeah. I'm. She gets less sleep than I do, but
Yeah, yeah. And your clothes, you find your clothes. Actually, it won't affect your clothes yet. I don't think that won't be for a couple more months.
yeah, no, it's been pretty light so far.
Yeah,
She sleeps a lot, and
yeah,
so all is good. All is good.
yeah. You sound tired.
I am, but I'm happy. I feel kind of grounded, even if it is in delirious stage
Yeah,
or whatever. But
yeah. It slowly changes your outlook on life. I would say that. I'm not sure if it's for the better or worse. I think it really amplifies your outlook. I wouldn't say it changes your outlook. It just amplifies your outlook on life when you have a kid.
right, I'm learning.
Yeah,
I'm trying to process it all. That's for sure. But I'm enjoying it. I'm definitely enjoying
that's good.
getting bigger already.
Let's see. So there's a little first thing I guess I will say, I'll share my screen, and maybe I won't put that part in yet. Yeah, I won't put that part in yet. Hold on. There's quite a lot. There's quite a lot. And let's see, share my screen. Is that the right one? Okay, yep, that's the right one. Okay, so in starting in April or May, because I don't know, I'm basically out of here in Boston or Somerville where I live, moving to Columbus, Nebraska, middle of nowhere, Nebraska. So it's gonna be a busy couple of weeks. We are heading out of here on a drive. So we have our car, and we can kind of look at houses together. And my wife starts her work on next Monday, which is also a holiday. So, no, not next Monday. The Monday after this next week. So, and I fly back and forth for the first 2 weekends, and then I think all of March I'm staying here to pack up and get things settled, get things at work, final days, get them all settled to go without me. I may be here all of April too. At least we'll pay for April if my landlord doesn't find anyone else. She's a neighbor. She lives upstairs, so don't want to leave her hanging. Anyways, starting in April or May of 2018, I will be jobless. I will have no disposable income. We'll see how long I could go so I could do my projects. I do want to keep things going. So what will happen is I will have these daily shows starting in April or May. And, I'm just playing around with it now. It's not set in stone. And I don't know what to do, whether to do the monetization thing or not. We'll just see. The first, so basically, the on topics, everything else, the stuff that's important, the stuff that's everyone needs to know about, that's always going to be free. It doesn't matter. It's always going to air, whether it's just get people on, talk to each other. That's always, no one will ever have to pay for that. I will use whatever means necessary to keep that going. Now, that being said, there's going to be extra shows that I may do if I'm not working on my main thing, which is, of course, what I mentioned before about the renewable energy cryptocurrency. And so while I'm working on that, there are things that I want to kind of spend some time on. I may not spend a whole lot of time, maybe an hour or two, but of course, an hour or two of actual show is 2 hours almost. So it's always double the amount when you're actually doing a show or you're online. So on Mondays, it'd be Mindful Mondays and movie review or analysis Mondays. So it's just kind of keep us involved. What went on during the weekend, and just keep us mindful of what's going on this week. So I want to keep it kind of very, very focused for the week, and then we'll kind of peter down, relax near the end of the week. So movie and review analysis Mondays, I think that was just kind of, not we got some serious stuff to do, but kind of go over some light stuff. Now on Tuesdays, there's going to be training and tutorial Tuesdays. Now, training is basically, well, the difference between training and tutorial, in my perspective, is a tutorial just shows you how it's done. Training is actually having the people that you're actually training understand all the differences. So they basically have to think for themselves, figure things out, and you work with them. Tutorials is just, I'm showing you something, you follow it. That's pretty much it. There's not much leeway. And then, of course, tactics, gaming Tuesdays. And I think strategy and tactics, that's my thing. I haven't played games in a while, but I think games are a great way to practice your tactical and your strategic way, not just way of thinking, but just actually it is a lot of way of thinking, but kind of tackling certain problems. And that's what's really helpful, I think, whether it's business, whether it's work, whether it's your you can pretty much apply it to anything, and it just gives you a short-term view and a long-term view. It's just another way to think about it. So Wednesdays, there's something I'll be thinking about called Woke Wednesdays, and that's just kind of exploring things that are going on in society, local or national, local, state, or national, and just maybe even talking about other shows where they're really presenting something. One of the things that I want to do is there's like I want to do tonight, but I'm not going to focus on it and make it specific. But it's basically, what was I going to say? Oh, it's basically having not just direct evidence, but circumstantial evidence, and how that can actually factor in to make something more possible, and not necessarily just kind of throw it away. Because there are times when there's circumstantial evidence which can apply in court, and you can actually win. Of course, that could be just a jury kind of seeing it your way. But anyways, we'll go into that later. So, and then that's also What the Fuck Wednesdays, WTF. So what things did we find during the week so far that's just like, what the fuck is going on? And of course, we see a lot of that. We totally see that in mainstream media. We see it with politics. It's all a big show, and we know it's all a big show. But some things that journalists are finding that's really, really breaking, and not like breaking in the everything's breaking type of news, but really, really solid breaking stuff. And then, so we're kind of in the hump of the week and kind of wind things down. So the Thankful Thursdays, I want to continue doing that. Tomorrow I'll do that. Tech exploration, and I know I forgot a lot of people. I'm sorry. And tech exploration or evaluation Thursdays. So just technology is a big thing. We use it. That's how we communicate. That's how we're actually getting together. I want to make sure that we actually explore more tech or evaluate certain technologies, because even though I'm settled on a few, we should always be looking and evaluating, exploring for new ones, because some of them might be useful and some of them might be just when I notice, when I evaluate technologies for my profession, a lot of this is a lot of this is a lot of things change within a few years. Like some things are kind of are stagnant once they make a lot of money, or there's just a lot of um, just a lot. If it becomes very popular, things don't change very often because they don't want people to leave that type of platform. So when things get really uh, are exploratory or new, you're going to see a lot of jumps in types of things that they do. Anyways, uh, Fridays, it's going to be me out there fishing or foraging, just kind of living out survival. And I'll probably getting back into shape. So I'll probably give people a couple of uh, ideas of how I work out, how I used to work out. It'll be different now since I'm no longer young. I'm 30. I guess I'm a, I don't know, 39. Is that middle age? I guess. So there'll be some fitness stuff that I go over. Let's see how that goes. Saturday, street fighting Saturdays, show you how to handle yourself in a fight. And maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you won't. I just want to go over it. So the difference between street fighting and what they show you with martial arts is you're basically what you wear, what you have on you when you go to a certain venue or place, or you're at wherever you're at. You're in your regular outfit. So you're not going to have a gi. You're not going to be shirtless. You're not going to have the perfect shoes on sometimes. So basically, how you're dressed that day, you're going to come across certain things that may or may not happen to you, and you just have to be ready. And I may find some people uh, in Columbus who may want to be trained or work together with me. And there's a lot that I haven't done with street fighting. I'm pretty much settled. I don't fight anymore. But anyways, there you go. And then also strategy, which is also gaming Saturdays. So I'll pick some games and kind of way to relax it. People come in and talk while I'm playing, distract me, ask me about what I'm trying to do. You could do all that stuff. Same thing with tactics. There's one thing that I may evaluate some games, even games that are recorded, some past games that I played, etc. Some of the articles I used to write for strategy. Anyways, and wind it down on Sundays, just survival Sundays. Could be just foraging additional stuff, just kind of making your own type of things from scratch. Just basically just how to survive. That could also include how you survive in a capitalistic world, how you survive in the big city, not just how you survive out in the wilderness. So it's just it can be wide array of things. So anyways, that's kind of what I'm planning on. Whether it takes off or not, who knows? When it starts getting busy, I'll probably move on to other things. But my idea right now is to have it so $1 per month, you have access to all of it. But no matter what, on topic, James Bannon talk, whoever wants to use the Zoom, I'm always going to pay for it. Everyone can enter. Anyone can keep going and talking. That's always going to be free. So this is just a thought. And also, if you can afford more than that, I know some people can afford more. And I will have during these whatchamacallit days, the live streams like this, I'll put in a promo code. So you can put in a promo code, you get a month free, whatever. Because I know people are paying attention. Like, who's going to listen for like 2 hours into a live stream for a promo code? I mean, you could probably search through it, whatever. I may hide it. Who knows? Or what I have is other people buy into it. So you can buy, someone who has some extra change that month might buy an extra coupon code and give it to somebody else. And so basically what I'm hoping for is if there's 1,000 people in a month watching all this stuff, it's $1,000 a month. And that's, you know, me living out there. That may not be much, but that's enough to keep going, keep doing other stuff until I get too big. There's going to be a limit. So just want to make people aware of that. There's buy into things, hire people can work, figure out the max. Like I don't need a lot to survive while I'm in Columbus, Nebraska, right? So whoever, but the thing is, I don't want to pay someone too much just because they're living in New York City. Do you understand? Like if I'm making 40,000 in Columbus, Nebraska, and someone's saying, hey, 40,000 in New York City isn't going to cut it. I'm not going to be doing all this work. Well, then you know what? Tough luck. I'm not going to pay somebody 150,000 while I'm making 50,000. So just need to make it so people can, I guess, fair, I guess you can say, but we'll see. It may not matter in the future. I think a lot of it is the task that I'm doing, the stuff that I'm doing. Anything can happen, and there's just an explosion of people being able to do what they want to do. I don't want to be a journalist. I don't want to be a commentator. I just want to just sit back, pave a better world for my kids, and that's kind of it, really. I could just go fishing every day. You know, I don't mind working like a 3-month contract outside, flying over to a big city, getting paid a lot of money, flying back into middle of nowhere, Nebraska, and just fish all the time, spend time with my family. That's good enough for me. But then there's also other things. We can't just sit back and do nothing. When I talked with, gosh, hopefully, I wish I didn't forget. I don't want to get it wrong, so give me a second here. Hey, you want to fill in, Chad? What are your thoughts
On
anything? That my idea is the cost. Is the dollar a month too much?
no, I don't think so. You know, I think opening up the lanes for different ways for people to be involved is really where it's gonna explode. I think we kind of talked about it too with like music and different stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, even if we had once we got so many followers, or they were artists, or they did whatever they did, we could do little auctions, we could do little stuff like that. People sell, there's 1,000 different little ways to keep the keep the thing moving.
Yeah.
So even Ava thinks so too. She agrees, right? Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to remember here. Sorry.
No, but I like the idea, and then having more of a set like schedule type thing.
Yep.
The format is gonna help.
Yep.
People.
So like anyways, I'm trying to remember. So I don't know why I forget his name. So I'm like in a big daze. So Chuck Morris, who I got to interview, and some of us got to talk to 2 days ago, or was it 3 days ago? 2 days ago. And he puts it really well. And ooh, hey Paul, how's it going? He talks to people, right? It's not a one-way thing. It doesn't matter how small you are. Dr. Shiva, he talks with people. He was able to talk with me. And he's got a lot of people following. Maybe not on his YouTube channel, but he's got a lot of people interested in his campaign against Senator Elizabeth Warren. There's Political Avenger. She's got a lot more views. She's got a lot more subscribers than me. Okay with talking to me and anyone else who wants to come on. Now, these are who I consider allies. You know, when someone big says, "Hey, why would I interview you? What do I get out of it? I've got 100,000, I got 70,000, I got 1,000,000 subscribers. You know, I got thousands of views, hundreds of views. I don't need you on. What are you bringing for me?" You know, I think those can't be our allies. They have something else in mind. It's not about us. It's about them, right? Those are not our allies. You may like what they say. You may like what they're doing, but when it's a one-sided relationship, that's not someone you want to ally with. That's who you do not want to partner with. You want to make sure that there's a two-way lane. You know, it's a group thing. It's not a I'm on my side and you're on your side. Stay there. Wait. Once you get big enough, hey, you can come on over. That's not what it's about. Like on my main YouTube, I may have 700 something subscribers. No, I don't care if you have 0 subscribers on your site. You want to come in and talk, you can come in and talk. Just don't take anyone else's right for airtime to talk, and you won't get on my bad side. It's freedom of speech isn't by taking away others' freedom of speech, is what I'm trying to say. So, anyways, I didn't look in chat. So if you want to keep talking, I'm just gonna look at some chat, see what they've been typing and saying.
Yeah. And the thing about allies too is I guess for different things, I guess the way I look at it is there's different things that you can ally with people on, but know the extent of that relationship, or know that there's a threshold to what you can ally with somebody on. It's like, for me, I wouldn't call them a full ally, but knowing that against the Clintons or the corruption, you could ally with the right or the conservatives in a manner, but there's obviously there's only extent you can go to.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Hey Paul, how's it going? Hey Snork, welcome. Yeah, like Paul Chapman, I think it's great. He says exactly what's on his mind. We need more of that, or we need real people. He knows that he can come on and talk and out talk if he knows. I mean, other people. It's just what we need to do is start communicating. Everyone is out there that's in power. Divide and conquer, divide and conquer, divide and conquer. The only way to not get conquered is to not get divided, right? We need to get together. People who want to actually really get together and work on something. We need to stick together. And we're not going to be doing that by being everyone trying to be the hero. I mean, we each are our own people. We each have our own thoughts. We have our own heroic stances. We all have our own sacrifices. We may not even tell others other things that we may be doing. And we got our own problems, especially different times of your life. Like when you're older, when a lot more people you care about are sick and dying, you're spending a lot of money that you probably saved. I know my owner, homeowner, her mom is in a hospital. She can't really look after her and pays a lot of money for care and just to keep her, sane and, her mentality right. And it's not easy. It's not easy for people on our age, Chad. When we have kids, we're spending a lot of time. We don't want to neglect our family life. We don't want to be, I guess, the fathers and mothers that are, if you had bad parents or not so good parents, that your parents were, right? People who are young, just trying to find a way in life. I know when I was living with my brother, I wasn't making much. And, I was putting a lot of pressure on him, supporting me as well. So there's a lot of problems in every age, but all these problems that we have are societal problems, and they don't have to be. And we can make a bigger change about changing the way that our society is, not just at the local level or the state level, but at the national level. I mean, right now we are a country. We do have national laws, constitution, whatever. So we are a part of it. As much as libertarians don't want that and want it at the local level, I'm sorry, that's not how it is. And you're not going to get a huge war by being localized if you don't want it. There's no way you're going to be able to segregate when people in power are nationalists. They're not. Even if you did, even if a libertarian was, hey, Stevie, let me change your name. Hope you guys are ready for a long night, especially you, Stevie. Sir Chad's already ready for a long night. He has a baby, so this night's gonna be a very long night. What's on your mind, Stevie?
Well, I missed the very first part of your live stream, I think, but from what I heard, I am really digging the ideas that you have. So,
okay.
Yeah, I think it's like the different days, the different segments. It's all needed. Some of it's light to kind of de-stress, but tackling the important stuff. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Thanks. And once we can get you going, Stevie, I know things are tough, and I'm sorry. I will definitely try to get everything out by the time I leave. So we're driving on Sunday. There's a lot of packing and stuff that we have organizing that we're still doing, but I'm trying to get you out of computer so you can start streaming again.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yep.
I wouldn't be able to do it, without you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have to stick together. I have a lot of resources. I just need a lot of time is what I need. And it doesn't help when I fall asleep like at midnight, where I need to stay up later like I normally do, but I've been exhausted. But it's right. Actually, talking to you guys actually helps wake me up and keeps me motivated. So when you do things alone by yourself, it gets tiring because you have to do everything. I noticed this when I'm even fishing, and even though it's like relaxing and it's peaceful and quiet, it's always nice to have other people there, telling stories or just being around, borrowing their stuff, borrowing my stuff. It's helping carry stuff. I mean, that's what's so great about being in a group, is being a loner. I've always been a loner. I don't know about everyone else. I don't know if people can tell. My brother, I've always had these times where I'm growing my hair out, not growing my hair out, shaving it off, whatever. And, having a ponytail. He always calls people with ponytails what does he call him? Shy ponytail guy or something? He always makes fun of me, and that's fine. I don't like getting made fun of, but it keeps me grounded. So I feel like I don't want to have that air of superiority. Like, it doesn't matter how rich you are, how famous you are, you're no better than the next person. So that's my thoughts. Hi, Amanda. What's going on?
I'm here now. I'm better. Chad, your thing with Tim Black, it was like the final push over into the lake of anger. It was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Not done, not like I'm giving up done, but I'm done with this shit.
Right. Well, but it's stuff like that, that they don't realize that they're just being a hypocrite in their own way. Like, how can you be upset? Like, for real, if you're not, really holding somebody's feet to the fire, it's like you're in that position. You're the one that has the power, so you always talk truth to power. Motherfucker has more power than me. And I'm talking truth to you, motherfucker.
And it's not just that. Like, if that person doesn't do it, at least with this type of thing where we let other people on and ask their own questions, like, I may not put someone's feet to the fire. Like, I may like someone, but one of you guys may not. And you're going to ask a tough question. Like, if I had Donna Brazil on,
Ooh.
I may ask a question or two, but I know you guys are going to ask a question or two.
Oh, I would have loved to have been one.
Yeah. So that's what's different about this show, if you call this a show. It's like any interviews that we do, right? People can come on. I'm not going to screen your questions. I'm not going to silence you. You ask what you want. And how difficult is that? But we don't have that in mainstream media. We also don't even have that in indie media. And that's so.
I know.
Well, and that's the whole thing, is like, they're not going to come on the show if they know that they're going to be asked the real hardball questions.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. Like, if somebody's coming on your show, like Donna Brazil is coming on your show, that means she's not afraid that you're going to say anything to her. So that says something more about, what you're doing as a, as a journalist or whatnot, more than it does even about them, to me, at this point. So that's why I was trying to be a little hard on them.
Yeah. Stevie, you were saying something.
Oh, I mean, like, that's okay. Like, if they don't want to come on here, that's all right. You're lost. But guess what? We're going to have the person running against you on. I guarantee you they'll one.
Yes.
I guarantee you that they'll answer the questions that you won't.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of person I want to have on here.
Yeah. And that's why.
Again, interviewing Donna Brazil would be a total treat. But
yeah. Yeah. And that's why I really like Dr. Shiva. Like, I wasn't quite sure about him the first time, but oh man, that last time that we had him, I'm pretty much on board. He's got balls to show up and answer anyone's question online. I think that's.
I respected him quite a lot.
And like, I even had Chuck Morse, and I'm pretty sure I don't agree with him on a lot of things, especially the things that he talks about. But you know what? I agree with his right to say it, and he agrees with my right to say it, and we can actually have a conversation or a debate or whatever you want to say. But the thing is, when you take that stance, if you don't want to argue with anyone, that your views are right and no one else's views matter, I think that's when we have the problems that we have now. The problems with the left, the problems with the SJWs, the problems with even the right, the alt-right, and all this other stuff. It's agree with our views, or your views don't matter. It's
or else we're gonna beat you up.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry, baby. I shouldn't have talked like that around you. When he has his baby there, I'm sitting there going, "Don't cuss, don't cuss." I have this. I'm going. It's like I go to that.
I cuss all the time. She don't care. She don't care. She's half Peruvian. She's all right.
Anyway, yeah.
No, I agree. I like Dr. Shiva. I feel like, he's, but then again, it's like, once somebody gets in, how headstrong are they going to be then? And are they gonna?
Yeah.
But I think he's on board just because, like you say, some of the things he says, like, you can't walk back, really.
And that's the thing is, what if he does get elected in a big win against Elizabeth Warren? Now, who's going to hold his feet to the fire? Who's interviewed him? Has mainstream media really interviewed him? No. Has it indie media interviewed him? Yeah. So when he gets in office and he starts turning 180, we've got videos. So, and that's just not on YouTube where it can be put down. It's not on Periscope where it can put down. It's up on Steemit, where it's a lot harder to put down because of the entire blockchain technology. So if it's out there, it's going to be, and who knows, people, I know I have it downloaded on my local. I'm sure other people have. So it's going to pop up somewhere down the line if he changes. But that also puts us in the spotlight. Could be held liable. Who knows? We'll fight that when it comes. I mean, we've got a big fight ahead of us. We've got, it's not even a big fight. We first have to get over a big, huge mountain. Not a mountain, but a mountain range. We're just like how many people are in here listening to us? 19 people, right? 19 people. What are we gonna do with 19 people? And we've got, let's see, even after 19 people, we probably get maybe 60 to 100 views. I mean, maybe we get another 19 people. Some people rewatch it. We don't have a lot of people. We got a lot of people listening to a lot of people. Of course, like I said, how often are they on? I mean, you were there, Amanda, at the Standing Rock. Have you ever been interviewed by anyone about what happened there? No. And you know what? Now's a good time. Tell us about the experience. I'm serious, because we've never heard it except for these people who are on air, right? So we haven't really heard it from the perspective of someone who's been there.
Can we do this another night?
Yes, we can do this. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm trying to get at, right?
I would love to do that.
Yeah. And so it's nice to have this. And if you think about it, like Tim Black, he has the same thing. He has Zoom. He can do the same thing. He could be doing what I'm doing, but he's not. There's other people that have the same thing. They can have regular people on, just anybody from the public. Are they doing it? No, they're not. Right? We're doing something new. We're doing something bold. We're trying to get people on to talk, have conversations. No one's, I mean, I think when someone does come on that's well known and established, whatever, we're kind of all like, hey, that's awesome. And we get much more respect for them, because they're actually being able to come on and just talk to regular people like us, who some of us are activists, some of us are talented, some of us are very I don't know the right words to describe you, Stevie. Very, very, I don't want to say furious. You got that, not angst. What's a good pronoun to describe Stevie?
Persistence, that's for sure.
Persistent, that's definitely. But like
consistently persistent. I mean, in getting the truth out. I love it.
Come on, people gotta help me out. Passionate, definitely passionate. Yep. And smart. She doesn't think she's smart, but she's smart. And I learned a lot about West Virginia and the things that happened there, which and Appalachia, like I would never know. I'd never been there. I never read books on it. Like I don't know anything about it, but I learned a lot from Stevie.
Like, yeah. Like she's got a humble passion. I mean, it's just.
Well, thanks, guys.
Oh, I forgot she was here. Yes. I
Oh.
adore you, Stevie.
So Amanda, Bruins was asking, what made you decide to go to Standing Rock?
Oh, geez. That question has been asked me before. That one is easy. At first, I have to admit it was pride and arrogance, ego, the whole business. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go with my tribe. I'm gonna go in there and fight, and I'm gonna change those bastards' minds, you know. But when I got there, it didn't take long for me to realize it's a calling to stand up for Mother Earth, you know. And I'll never forget. It was like the first time that we went into a sweat lodge, just women, and I had the most spiritual experience. It's like when your body heats up that hot, it's like you surrender to it, and it helps you to surrender everything negative about yourself, every pride, all the arrogance. It strips you away from that, and then all of a sudden, just all good things just flood in. And I remember feeling the Mother Earth enter into me, and it was like the most perfect love ever. And it was enough to change me to love back, you know. And then I never got shown love by my real mother. I didn't know how that was supposed to feel or how to express it, you know, because I was never taught that through her behavior. But at that moment, that's when I figured out what a mother's love is all about, and it just changed my whole. I even loved the cops, even though there was abuse going on. It's just I along with other people would start screaming back at them, "We love you." You know, we're trying to get them to understand this isn't what you were born to be. You know, you weren't born to hurt. You know, and we were trying to instill that love into them.
Did any of the police officers there kind of respond positively and like were talking and just kind of realized that?
Oh, sure. Some even left and abandoned their post. They said, we can't do this because we now know that they don't have any weapons. They're not terrorists. They're not the horrible things that this oil company and Morton County want, you know.
Do you think you'd be able to try to find who those officers were and try to get them on?
Oh my God, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Because I mean, we get that one perspective, which is the protesters against, of course, the police. Or did they even send military, or is it just the police force?
We're not really sure. We're not sure who all they belong to, but some were like outside police departments.
Yeah.
Outside of Morton County. I think they were from, I can't remember.
Like state police or county police. Yeah. I'm not sure if they'd ever want to come on, because then they might face more backlash than they already did.
We'll see.
Yeah. But if you can, I mean, that would be pretty awesome to get their side of the story, because like they must have, whether they got into it and they were like, all right, we're gonna get these like
Kelly.
Oh, Kelly.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Squirrel moment. Hi, Kelly.
Yep. Chris Hedges. Yeah, I like that. When real revolution happens, the police side with the people. So I hope that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, then we hear a lot of stories about how the police forces have been infiltrated by white supremacists. But is that really true? I mean,
I don't think all of them are.
I don't think all of them are either.
I am not one to say the Trump administration and people that follow Trump are racist as a blanket statement. I think some people just have, I believe that there is racism, of course. I would be stupid to not think that. But I believe some people are just born to just be angry at someone different than them too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or develop it, some are taught, and it's not really. I've experienced the energy of real racism, and it's a way darker than the typical angry at you type.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it.
So Kelly, so I'm trying to get Kelly on, whether it'll be like an interview for a while and then we let people on, but she went to the Unrigged Summit and has a lot to say about the Unrigged Summit.
I would love to hear it.
Yeah. So it's always great to hear from someone who's on the ground, seeing what these events are like. And let's see. Yeah, Bruins is saying it would be awesome to invite the police on to speak, but I mean, we know that even Dave, independent announcer, right, probably is limited with certain things, especially. I mean, he's working at the post office. I'm pretty sure if you're in the police department, you're also limited on what you can say and not say. And that kind of sucks. It's like, it's a public servant job, I guess, right? A police officer, serve the public. So
it's supposed to be.
Yeah. So why can't you talk in public? They have regulations against that.
I never get that.
Yeah.
It's like, does their free speech leave just because they signed a contract as a public servant, as a cop?
Yeah, it's very convoluted.
I wonder how you can get a copy of a contract. That'd be interesting.
I mean, especially when it's public, right? So it's.
I wouldn't want to go into my local sheriff department. Hey, can I have a copy of the contract cop sign and to be a cop?
You probably have to get those like Freedom of Information Act to get something like that. But or Hatch Act, Snork. I forget what Hatch Act is. Can anyone remember? Why aren't you guys coming in? I guess we'll all see everyone in like 45 minutes on James' show. So like I'm saying, I kind of off topic. So on topic. So who are our allies? After all these things, like some people can't step up to support any activism because their jobs can be taken away. Their livelihoods can be taken away. So are they still our allies? Or is it people who step up out of their comfort zone? Is that our allies? Like, where do we find support? So do we reach across the aisle and see if we find allies in the Libertarian or the Republican Party? Do we see if there's still any allies left and people who are still Democrats? Not just, or maybe it's not even about politics. Maybe it's just about, we make it about one thing, and that's corruption.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think as far as, people that like have jobs that they can't necessarily, speak up. I mean, there's other things, like you see what Fly does with his channel. He just tries, since he can't, go out there and say it himself, like he goes and promotes people and edits and does stuff, to promote other people. So it's like, everybody has a way that they can help out. We've got people that come on here and talk, and then we've got people in chat that, share and contribute to the conversation. I mean, there's just so many ways of helping that, I mean, it's just really whatever you want to do or whatever you have time for or you're good at.
But I think corruption, though, I think that's got to be the key point, because it's people. There's certain people, they're the ones that pay the policies, and then everybody else is affected by them. What do they say? The enemy of our enemy is
the enemy of your enemy is a friend.
Yeah, something like that. That's why it's like it's almost easier sometimes to talk to somebody, conservative or somebody on the right, than it is to talk to someone on the left, because the left still buys the bullshit. I mean, the right still buys the bullshit in its own way too, but I feel like it's I don't know, I feel like it's growing as far as they're leaving the right and moving more towards center. But
yeah, it's kind of like the difference between arguing with a sibling or arguing with a neighbor. You're definitely, if you have a disagreement with a neighbor, you're going to be more tactful. But when it's in your own family, then that's when the punches come out. So that's probably it. Maybe it's like we're a little too similar sometimes, and that's why we end up fighting so much amongst the left.
Well, I mean, that's how do you expect the right, or I mean, if you're still playing, first of all, if you're still playing two-party politics, how do you expect somebody to respect you if you can't clean house? The very thing that they're right about, you can't even acknowledge. And it's the same thing, it's, on the right, it's like the left, it talks about what's wrong with the right, but the right won't acknowledge it. Yeah. From the way it's all set up, it's the left, I guess, is supposed to be the one that puts their hand out first, or takes the initial.
Like for me, like the left, when you explain all the things wrong with Hillary Clinton, and they're like, no, that's just like alt-right, racist, Nazis, whatever, telling lies. And it's like, no, I'm not right. I'm not Nazi. I'm actually probably left if I considered myself anything. And then you've got the right who are saying, oh, Trump can't do any wrong. Trump is, doing great things. He's not what people say they are. He's not what like Hillary supporters say they are. And it's like, oh, what are some of these things that I can definitely say? Like he supports war. He's bombed countries. He's still doing the things that he says. He's still pretty much doing some of the things that Obama's legacy, that he's continuing the same policies, especially fighting in Middle East. I had like 3 things at least to say that Trump is doing that the right should be paying attention to, but they're not. But I forgot because I was ready with Dr. Shiva. Like one of the things I was going to probably ask him is like, you support Trump, but do you support these things that Trump is doing? I mean, he's not even building a wall and having Mexico pay for it. We're paying for it. He's still paying. Snark, you can speak up. You don't have to write an essay in our Zoom chat.
Okay. The Hatch Act restricts federal employees from participating in political partisan activities. So it applies the entire time of the employee's federal service, whether they're on duty or off. Certain activities they can do off duty, but they really can't do anything like running for an office that they're not in, or I guess it gets kind of loose on the definition of what they can and can't do, but basically, if the party in power doesn't want them to do it, they get charged for it.
When was this instituted?
1939.
1939? Was there a particular reason for it?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, you weren't born then. Or were you, Snark? Yeah, I feel like people who work in the public sector should be able to run and talk about anything that, I mean, it's a public office where you're talking about public candidates who are running for public office. We why are we restricting public servants from utilizing the very First Amendment that we give to everybody in the United States?
Tom Hartman's building, where he used to have his old studio, was full of offices that Congress used to make political phone calls, because they couldn't make them from their own offices. They'd have to walk to that building. They'd take the elevator up. So while you're in there, you'd constantly see all kinds of senators popping in and out. And I guess that's all over the place. They have to go to a non-government place to make their phone calls. And they can't talk politics while they're together. You know they do.
Yeah.
But officially, they have this residence or whatever where they go to make their calls. And I can't remember how many stories it was, but it was in a small building.
Yeah. And so, I don't know, it just perplexes me. Someone can take the conversation somewhere. I just want to check my my Twitter real quick.
Yeah. You know, like with the president and the vice president, you'd think that since their house is there, that they could make them. But even Al Gore had to walk down to a building that basically had a room with a desk that he'd walk into and he'd make his phone calls. And I thought that was just absolutely silly, is that realize that some parts of the day people are going to make it, and they can do so many things. I think using the phone is very little compared to their being able to go out and hop in a jet and take that off on their as a business write-off. That many more times expensive than a telephone.
Yeah, it just I know we're going off topic. It just boggles my mind. Like, we see people breaking the rules all the time, but they're not going to be, the top aren't going to be held accountable for it. The people on the bottom are, just because they just don't have that power. They don't have that backup. They don't have someone else vouching for them, saying that, you know, this is your First Amendment right. Oh, wait, but there's a law. It's called a Hatch Act. You kind of forgo your First Amendment right. It's just like when you join the military. Oh, you lose your rights while you're in the military. Didn't you know that? You have to follow orders. And then if an order that you follow is unlawful, then you're in trouble for it, not the person who made you do it. Not just the person who made you do it. Go ahead, Chad.
No, I think that's the whole thing. It's they're following orders. It's policy. You know, they probably, the less the government workers, you know, get involved or into politics, you know, the less things can actually change. They could still do what they need to do because the system. I mean, they've got it set up now to where, you know, they know how to funnel money out of every industry, every section of our government. People are funneling money, you know, from you know, the people who probably give our school lunches to, you know, to whatever, you know what I mean? Like there's up and down the system.
Yeah, and we get the same thing if the government or the Pentagon or whoever is like, we don't know where the money went. It's like, we're accountable for that, and they're not. It's like, oh, we're gonna have to take more money from everyone because we lost money somehow. It's like, dude, if you can't figure out the money, it shouldn't be our fault you guys should be fired. You guys should be ousted.
Well, civil forfeiture, you know, that's a big thing, and they seem to be okay with it because, you know, I mean, that's how they, you know, of course they keep taking wealth from people. If we did a campaign to push civil forfeiture with a lot of these cats, like on the top, I mean, you know, from your Romneys to Obama to Clintons, I mean, some real deal, like, you know, heavy campaigning to, it's time to take all the funds that they've stolen, you know. That money's, you know, you'll see the law change, I'm sure, somehow.
I mean, one thing. Oh, there's like one thing worse than a lawless person is a lawless law. I mean, that's just corruption. That's plain and simple. And but people are afraid to step up and fight it because you're fighting corruption, and the corrupt people are going to be protecting each other, and that's where we fall apart. When people who aren't corrupt aren't protecting each other, we're just going to start falling one by one. There's nothing we can do. The only way to stand up to it is stand up together. We've gotten to a point where corruption is so rampant that you can't take it down except to having a bigger force. And we haven't had a bigger force since what, Martin Luther King Jr. days?
Right. Well, so, but here's, okay. So we can say the police, for example, the law enforcement, the policies dictate, they basically write for what they're supposed to do, you know, the way that they train them, the types of people they look for. So again, in some of these people's minds, they're just, again, following orders, like you said. So how do we appeal to the people within the system that are just following orders, following policy, to realize that those policies are wrong, and that, you know, how do we give them a road to redemption, a road to, you know, because I mean, everybody's guilty in their own way for something, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like Kelly was saying, that, you know, when the police are on the side of the revolution, that's when things really start to change. And can we get to that part? Can we get to that? Can we have law enforcement as allies of the public? I mean, they're supposed to serve the public. I mean, public servants are people who work for the government, but they are as private as any private company, right? No transparency at all. And when did that change? Why did we allow it? Who allowed it? That should not be the case. I mean, everything is, it's for was it security, national security, etc. I mean, we've had all these leaks. Like, one thing mainstream media could do is report on every time there's a leak, classified leak. They always say, hey, it's a breach of national security. People are going to die from it. Do we ever see anyone die from it? We actually see the opposite, because it's so well known, that's now transparent. They stop doing whatever they're doing because they don't want anything to get out. So we haven't had any actual evidence, anything from the government saying, look, these leaks from Snowden, these leaks from what's her name that just got out?
Chelsea Manning.
These resulted in deaths. We don't see one, right? What probably happened is there's less deaths now, that because it's known and it's public, because they can't operate in that way, covertly or whatever, because of national security. It's like it should be on them to prove it, not on private citizens who try to get information but don't, and have to wait years after you get a the public, where public gets to ask for transparency. What do you call that? But anyways, whatever you get, you know, comes 10 years later. It's like people who want to know everything about the JFK assassination, all the government documents. And then, of course, we get it, 50 years later, and then it's heavily redacted still. It's like, who are you still protecting?
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, they're protecting their system.
Yeah.
You know, because once their system gets exposed, once enough gets exposed, I mean, look at it now. Like, they're on backpedaling. They're doing it so out in the front that it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know if it's just because we know what's going on, but like even just the Russia thing, it's like, for anybody that has half a brain that really understands how to process it and to understand what's going on is going to can put two and two, all of it together and say, okay, well,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be hard. Well, but I think that is the focus, I guess, then to, find some sort of campaign or create some sort of campaign that is pro, police, to restore the honor or of our law enforcement, to where it gives an opportunity, gives something, law enforcement can get on to. It just got to be designed by the people. Because once the people say, hey, this is what we want you to police, nothing else, this is it. You have to go after these people. And if you don't, then you're going to be held accountable yourself.
Yeah. What's on everyone's minds? What's been going on out there in the crazy sphere? It's kind of nice to be like focusing on a move, because I don't really. And also, I'm detached. I don't watch mainstream media. I don't even have cable anymore, so I can't, even if I wanted to. I've just been kind of focusing more on like what the kind of stuff that you're talking about. Like at first I was really wrapped up in the news and the who's who in politics, but now it's just, it's like after you learn so much, it's like, okay, well, they're all actors and they're not really, they're doing the things, but I want to understand, because the power is with us. We have the numbers, we have every right. It's just, how do we tap into that? And that's really like what I've been trying to focus on, is like how to like build these relationships with other people, how to get them excited about it, kind of, researching a little bit on like, economics, stuff like that, because now, that's one of the big things that affects everybody. So, So over there in West Virginia, Stevie, if you were just to talk to anyone on the street, and what's the biggest thing in the way between trying to find common ground? Is it religion? Is it politics? Is it, what is it? Well, it's the lack of information. That's why, one of the reasons why I started my channel in the first place. Every time I was trying to find anything, it was always like something right wing, Rush Limbaugh, stuff like that. And I'm like, who's actually out there telling people about the stuff that they actually should be pissed about, instead of like immigrants? That is absolutely not a problem here. That is just like not a thing. But you have people saying, oh, the immigrants are stealing our jobs. Where? And like people get so wrapped up in that kind of thing that they don't know what is actually hurting them. So that's the big thing, right, that I come up with. And it's easier for people to, there's just so much bullshit that goes on here that it's like their way of just feeling a little bit better about their lives, You know what I'd love to do? I'll come out with you so you're not alone, Stevie, is to go out to the coal mines and find these immigrants that are stealing the coal mining jobs. Yeah. It's like, all right, we're trying to find some immigrants who are stealing these coal miners' jobs. Let's see. That would be a funny ass segment. Yeah. Well, in Tennessee, it's like when you talk about, there's Hispanic, a big Hispanic community here, and when they talk about it, they talk about whatever the Mexican community, they'll talk about, they always say they're hard workers. They always say that they're fast. They always say that they, it's just, I don't think they put two and two together to realize why, first of all, why they want to keep, the establishment wants to keep them, non-resident. And then that's why they can exploit the labor. They can still use it, without having to, pay the same type fee. Mm-hmm. Supposedly a lot of vegetables and stuff are rotting in California because there's not enough people to help pick it or whatever. And one thing to think about is, are these immigrants can be our allies, really. I mean, once we can kind of get them, I mean, into this kind of understanding English better, understanding the system, kind of helping them out, not just that they're not making a lot, how to actually get them to be legalized citizens, things like that, that can actually, they can become a better member of the community as well. But we don't take that step. We just take that step of, hey, you don't belong here. I think that's not, I thought that was like not the, whether you're religious, not the Jesus thing to do, not the Southern thing, Southern hospitality. That's not the Southern thing to do. I mean, every type of society, it's supposed to be about welcoming guests first, right? And we don't do that anymore. If you're religious or nationalistic or patriotic, whatever, it's always been about welcoming first. And instead, we take the animosity side, I guess. And
Yeah.
since when was that an American thing?
Yeah, I know exactly. I mean, we had a church here that was trying to help out some of these Syrian refugees. I mean, there wouldn't even been that many. I think it was less than 100.
Mhm.
And people were losing their shit over this. They were like, we don't know, they're going to come in, they're going to take our jobs, and oh, they're going to use food stamps. And I'm like, what? Like you and your neighbors are? Because I mean, pretty much everybody is, around here. I mean, people are broke. I mean, it's like they're not here yet, and you still don't have a job. So what's going on? Like that doesn't even make sense to me. And these are people that it was around Christmas time. And these are people that probably just left church, came home and like, after singing Jesus loves everybody, and then go home and they will fuck the Syrian refugees,
Yeah, and they're punching low. They could punch high. I mean, the ones who are actually giving people jobs are the ones who are in power. The corporations even are shipping our jobs overseas. So they're not mad about them. They're just punching down on, like, they're fighting for scraps is what they're doing, and not the ones that are starving them.
Mm-hmm. And they think like it makes them feel better, but the thing is if you punch up, that makes you feel more powerful. It makes you feel better because you're not picking on somebody that doesn't deserve it. You're going straight to the source. It's not. Why pick on somebody that can't do anything, that hasn't done anything to you, when you could go after the real person that's hurting you?
Yeah. And it's the same thing when I hear people talking about like the homeless and how they're a problem. No, society is the problem because we failed them. They didn't fail society, right? When we have homeless, when we have people out of work, it's not their fault. It's our fault as a society that we couldn't help them. And that's how we got to reframe the situation. It's like every politician, every Republican, probably even Democrats are saying these guys are just welfare, problems, don't contribute to society.
You know what's funny is, not funny, but it's aggravating as hell, is that when you're homeless and you have no way to get to the DSHS office, you don't get to have welfare. You don't get to have food stamps. You have to meet criteria. And when you're homeless and you don't have a car and you're tenting it wherever you can, and it's most likely very far away from the DSHS office. So tell me, how can those people be on welfare? No, what they were doing is scrapping food wherever they can get the food.
Yeah. I know we're going off topic.
Ugh.
One idea I had, and the problem is when you're homeless and you got nothing and you're in a huge city, you've really got nothing, nowhere to go except for any type of support. The only way you can start going up is to go over middle of nowhere, like say Columbus, Nebraska. So my thought is, if I can get enough money, buy a plot of land, have people who are homeless, get them tickets, have them driven out to middle of nowhere, Nebraska, train them, make them know how to grow their own crops, how to get away from whatever addictions that they may have, and just try to start fresh, have a community. And the problem is, yes, Snork, I'm gonna need a lot of help if that happens, because during the winter they can't grow stuff, and they're gonna need to grow stuff. So just having these types of communities, not just in the cities, that can also help cities where they don't have to worry about a lot of homeless, is get them into the countryside where they can grow stuff and have communities, provide education, a fresh start. Once they make money, they can start growing stuff, selling stuff out in the city, get some money, grow the communities that are there, keep the money within the communities, not just have them filtered out. And which, when you get out, you have all these huge corporations. If you have a Walmart in middle of nowhere, hi Christian. So if you have like a Walmart in the middle of nowhere, all that money is going to where? Headquarters, New York. They're not going to be paying a lot of taxes. They're going to have tax breaks. They're going to a lot of the stuff that they get is from outside the country. They have tax havens outside the country. All the money, like, people are wondering, hey, where's all our money going? How do they lose money? It's because our money is circulated outside the system, and it's not, and no one's being held accountable. There's a lot of problems out there. It's just hard to start at one little thing.
I think we start at what you've stated before, Ebon, the system itself, the structure. I mean, we could try, getting all this other stuff done, like, raising the minimum wage, Medicare for all this great stuff. But as long as the system's in place where politicians can be bought off without any sort of penalty, or, and where profit matters more than people, what kind of damage, what kind of change, positive change, can we really affect? Really, yeah. It's limited. Or at least it's much more limited than if we were to say change the system first.
Yeah. And it's, why do we need to go outside? Like, all these huge corporations are going to India, they're going to China for cheap labor. We have cheap labor we can have in middle of nowhere America. I mean, it's not that big of a difference. And the cost to operate within the country is going to be a lot cheaper than hiring these big cargo ships or cargo planes to keep sending materials in and out. I feel like it's, if we want, what we should be doing is rather than shipping jobs overseas, ship jobs to rural America where the cost of living is cheap. People don't need to make 150 grand a year in like Columbus, Nebraska. You can make like 40 grand a year and you'd be just as good as making 150 grand in like Manhattan.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Stevie, ships jobs to where Stevie's at, ship jobs to where Snork's at, ship jobs to where you're going to be at in Nebraska, like you said.
Yeah.
And that's also part of the problem here. I mean, there's no people. And when you don't have people, nobody wants to put their business where there's no people. They want to take their business out to, one of the coasts. So, that's what I like about your idea, Ebon, is like you start to build the community up, from the ground up, like literally, you got people, you're getting them back on their feet, bringing people in, and those people, once they get on their feet, they'll be, spending money, and so, it kind of solves both problems. Because, it's like the whole thing is like, well, I need a car to get my job, but I need a job to get a car. That's the kind of the situation that we keep finding ourselves in, like with this politics stuff.
Yeah. Hi, Ben. How's it going?
Hello. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, Stevie. I really liked that y'all Kada thing. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I think that was what they used for those people that took over that building somewhere. But I always thought that was just hilarious.
And I think that could be a segment underread in economics is the Al-Qaeda, then you can just do it where dumb people segment where dumb people do dumb shit or say dumb shit, you know. And y'all, this is the Al-Qaeda. America's
Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, you know, so, little stuff like that, like.
And like when we have a lot of people from like Mexico going up, because I do know that there's a lot of labor over in Columbus, Nebraska. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who speak Spanish, not English very well. But why don't we help do some trades, help them teach English rather than saying, hey, why don't you like learn English? It's like, how are they going to learn English if no one wants to teach them? The first thing that you do with guests in your country is to tell them that they're not wanted and they're not welcome. That's not how you can get people who will support your ideals or beliefs and whatnot.
Well, I do know that they get grants to go to community colleges that teach English. That is geared for that.
Yeah.
Come here, stupid guy.
Cool if somehow you could do that on public or national forests or something like that, or create more national forests. But yeah, that's one idea. Or either that or buy the property and turn it into like long term, like, I don't know, try to create like some sort of balance to do different things, and like maybe bees and some like regular like common area forest, or like maybe, and then like some major percentage just agriculture, or just like developing it however you'd want. I mean, I think if like with it depends on the area, but like whether it's raised beds or whether it's just more carefully, different kind just a design that facilitates some new technology or some kind of system that's going to make it more efficient. But whatever it is, just working towards a different kind of farm, I guess. In like maybe some farmland or a lot of farmland would have like a lot of pesticides from its past usage, so you'd have to like consider these kinds of things and overcome whatever challenges it would be, or whatever you're dealing with. But I really like that whole agricultural idea, because it seems like the like housing and food are the things, and probably other things too, but housing and food are things that like that's always going to be a need for.
Yep. And what I'd like to know is, once I get out there, Columbus, Nebraska, if we get an area with plot of land, there's going to be gardening, there's going to be some light farming that I'm going to try to do, and see if people are interested in that, as opposed to like the big farms, right? The big agriculture, and see how popular it is. I mean, I feel like when you get into Omaha is pretty progressive in a way, if you want to call it that, where they have a lot of like organic stuff, or local farms and like local businesses. I mean, there's still a lot of like big businesses like chains, but that they do. Some people are really into the local stuff. So,
has anybody ever heard of woofing?
Mm-mm.
That's familiar.
Yeah, there's like this thing called woofing, which is like you can go kind of work on all these different farms. I think you basically usually don't get paid, and it's like you just get accommodation. And I don't think the work is too rigorous. Sometimes you can smoke cannabis or something. I mean, pretty much kind of laid back, and there's a lot of it in Oregon. I think in different places. It's like wwoof.net. But that's kind of similar. But and then also like there's things like, I know I applied before to try to go work at Yellowstone for a summer or something. Like it'd be nice if there were like a way to get like a lot of applicants or a lot of interested people. Because I mean, if you had an abundance of that, then that would make you feel more comfortable trying to do it, right?
Yeah, I went to Yellowstone once. Man, it's an awesome place. If you can work there for a summer or something, definitely do it.
Yeah, I met somebody who just came back from doing it. He was like, "You should apply." I was like, "All I did was just apply on this website." So I went through all the trouble and never heard anything back.
I wonder how hard it is to get in. I'm sure there's a lot of people who apply for it.
like I was learning Spanish and Chinese, and I was like, you know, he was saying it was like a lot of international people, you know, students and stuff that went there and worked. And it was a cool culture, like, you know, young people. So,
Yeah. And one thing that we overlook is like we have our allies. Do we have allies outside the United States? I mean, not just, I mean, like typical American allies. I'm talking about people who want America to change in a good way, like people who share our ideas of how America should be and not corrupt, transparent. Do we have allies out there that I feel like they might be more inclined to speak up about that than people actually in America? Just like
there's a lot of people interested, but I think that everybody has their own country's woes or problems to worry about.
Yeah, true.
Well, I mean, that's why I think it's good that like people like Ryan come on, you know, because like we're in the forest trying to figure out, you know, what's going on, and he's kind of on the outside and, you know, really getting to look at it from a different perspective. So, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say we need to look no further than Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan Troxney from Norway, political avengers, Venezuela. A lot of problems in Venezuela, and probably due to us. Oh yeah, sorry, Kelly. So yeah, I'd love Kelly to come on so she can talk about the Unrigged Summit. The one thing that she said, I think she said in the messages, she said it was felt like a Dem event, a Democratic event. So, but we'd probably love to hear the whole story. I mean, it feels like every event. I mean, how hard is it to get funding? I mean, for a really progressive thing. I mean, I think it'd be pretty hard now because people gave up a lot during Bernie Sanders' run. So where's all this money coming from?
Yeah,
The People's Summit and the Unrigged Summit. It's like, is it still all Soros? Is the Unrigged Summit all Soros money? Was the People's Summit, where was the money coming from? Was that a Soros event? It's like, it's hard to tell because they don't give us any information. No one really looks into it. Oh, nice.
I know the last Women's March in Seattle that I went to, that was a fully Soros funded thing. And so is the Indivisible Guide Resistance Group.
I never even heard of that one.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was a part of. And
okay.
Yeah. And
yeah, you told me about that one, yeah.
I was psychologically beat up in that. Fuck.
It's like, all right, we're gonna fight the man, and then you all around you.
I don't want Hillary though.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, damn it. You're gonna
like,
have.
They were literally fighting the man. Males.
Oh.
Men, yeah.
Men. Yeah. And then oh man, there's just so much. But anyways, our allies are the ones who will speak up. I think that'll accept us on their platform and we accept them on ours. It's not a one-way street. You can't have allies if it's just a one-way street. You can't have a relationship if it's just a one-way relationship.
Exactly.
So we just have to keep in mind with that.
They were awful talking about the Republican people. Oh my God. It was like they wanted to make sure that everybody believed that if you just walked by them and breathed their germs, I don't know. It was horrible.
But it's oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, like when I said before in another segment show, whatever we were doing, is this guy is going to these women's marches and asking all these people, what are the things that Trump doesn't know, what Trump is doing that you're against, and they can't think of a reason. And then, of course, it's kind of ridiculing them in some way. But I think the best thing to do at that point is to actually give them some reasons. Like, if you are really against Trump, here are some valid things that you should be against. Everything else really doesn't matter. Every other politician, every other president, they said one thing and did another. You got to realize that with Obama, you got to realize Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush. And I think those are potential allies, because when you set them straight, where you're not disagreeing with them, is like, here's ammo if you're really against Trump, but all the stuff that you're going to be against Trump for, here's a surprise: Obama supported it, the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of almost like trying to wake them up, but the thing is, you can't be confrontational to wake them up, because then they're just going to dig in their heels.
I can't shake them.
No, you can't shake them.
Oh shit, man!
It's like, where else do people totally take what people say as face value? They don't question it at all. Like they marching, like, you know, little marching soldiers or something. I don't know where else that is. I mean, I feel like everywhere else we like retain our individuality a little bit better.
Yeah.
I was going to say something before about what Rebel was saying about all the enmities and kind of spite and just mutual hostilities and stuff. Like, I guess I don't like to use the word, because there's something that I think just feels weird about saying racial tolerance. But whenever it comes to like, like people being intolerant or like being like homophobic or xenophobic and being, those kind of things, like to people's religions or to their ideas or whatever, I think it's all bad. But I think race is probably the worst, probably followed by like sexuality, gender, whatever, sexual orientation, whatever. And but I guess where was I going with all that? I don't know. I think I forgot. I was going to kind of try to tie that into something, but
don't worry.
I'm still kind of working on that, though. Trying to think about those different things. But I feel like racial people who are like racist is the worst. But it'll come to me in a second. I was just going to say, I think like the Democrats are terrible when they say like, oh yeah, we're for something. We support these people, but they're actually, and that's the thing that people take at the face value. But they're actually, doing things which are contrary to that thing, and it's like that's the complexity that people can't wrap their minds around, or they're like adverse to hearing like, no, I believe this, and it couldn't be true. It couldn't be so that they're doing these other things. And dang it, I forgot. I was actually going somewhere as well with another point, but I forgot because I got a lot of.
Can I say something while you're thinking about it?
Yeah, go ahead.
The thought that hit me today, does a libtard and a Trumpanzee, do they ever stop in their quiet moment to think, maybe I shouldn't be calling that person that or that, I mean, do they ever think that maybe in kindergarten they once played together in school and they got along and they were each other's besties at one time? We don't know.
Okay, actually came back to me. So if whenever it's a good time.
But that, that when that hit me, it was just like, oh my God, one of those people back in kindergarten that I played with, that I loved and adored, could be anywhere on this political spectrum.
Yeah.
And I loved them back then. Why should I change it now just because there's something different than I am?
Yeah. Go ahead, Ben.
Go ahead, Ben.
So
Thank you.
There's that difference. There's that difference there between like intolerance towards like how you feel about LGBTQ or how you feel about religion and different people's. Maybe you feel very passionately and fervently that your religion is the one, and that the other ones are like, you know, they're deeply flawed. Okay. But for like racially, it's like, you know, when you're against somebody's race, I feel like that's different. So anyway, I just want to say that I think that it's odd, though, sometimes the PC culture and the social justice warrior thing takes it too far, because they're intolerant of people to such an extent. It's like they want to have their own prerogative and they want to have their own way and their own choices, but it's like then you're intolerant of other people having their own choices and their own thinking. Like for me, I feel like for me that sort of runs into some hypocrisy that's intolerable itself. But anyway, that's kind of what I was trying to go with that.
I mean, the methods of control, religion, money, what else? Military, I guess, like actual like strength of power or whatever.
Ad baculum, by the stick, by the cudgel.
Yep. And so people are stuck on that. Like for example, like I've been poor, so I'm okay. I'm making at least 150 grand a year with my job, with 27 days paid time off, matched 401k. There was a little bit of pension before, whatever. I'm leaving all that for nothing. I don't have a job lined up in Nebraska. I'm just going to continue on with this, figure out a way to grow media for the people, by the people, whatever. Everyone's a dependent. Just try to make it work. And if I fail, I fail. My wife is taking a big pay cut. She's probably like 110, 120 grand a year, 60,000 a year. And she's going to be the breadwinner for a while. Like who's going to really do that? Not many people. Religion, I'm not religious. She was raised Catholic. She's not really practicing very much. So we're kind of cut off. We're like independent as you can get. Trying not to, we're not in any military family. We're kind of cut off from the entire thing. We just kind of want to be what like most Americans want to do. They just want to be left alone, do your own thing. But then there's so much, like, I feel like if we're fighting a system that's based on control, military control, religious control, and monetary control, we can't win by using the same methods of supply that they have. We just can't, because they have more of it. They just have way more of it. You can't win in this using the same supplies as they do. We have to have something else that they can't control. So it's going to be a tough fight, and it has to take everyone. I mean, more wealth is going to the wealthy. It's not coming back to the poor. It's not going back to middle class. So, there's a breaking point, and what we do in the breaking point is what matters. It's a revolution is probably going to come, whether we like it or not, whether it's going to be a violent one, a bloody one, or whatever. It's going to happen. So we just need to.
So those are the two choices: a violent one or a bloody one.
Yeah.
No, let it be a pacific one. A peaceful one.
I don't know. Our last revolution we had was Martin Luther King Jr., and that was pretty bloody. And that was 60 years ago.
The second Reconstruction. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and this isn't a racial thing. This is class, race, gender. It's everything. And where do we find the common ground to unite?
Class.
Well, I've been on here kind of sparsely trying to think like less is more, and like I think it's a cool thing. It's a cool space and stuff. I feel like it's different than the internet a lot of other times how I experience it in interaction or discussion. So I feel like the rest of it's filled with like a lot of other junk. I feel like it's less efficient. Like even though this could be something that you could waste your time with. It's like something like it's less efficient it's more efficient than like some of the other ways to like look at other people's opinions and exchange. You know, it's quicker. It's kind of like how taking it like text messaging takes longer than, you know, a phone call at times. So like I feel like another weird analogy I wanted to make was like that, you know, like when you go to, if you go to a casino, I've never been to a casino because I don't have money to spend on that, and I just never went. And so, but I know I get it, and I play some poker, and I think the thing about poker is it's not super random. Like there's randomness, but it's like a lot comes up to your skill, and there's like a total pot, and it goes back to somebody. There's like this total amount, it goes to somebody. Whereas like sometimes like pulling a slot machine lever is completely different. It's completely just this sort of random thing in its own realm. So, but so like it's more based on skill. Like poker is obviously there's like a spectrum of like, you know, what the games could be like, either less based on skill or more like chance, and more like somebody has the skill, they have the bluffing skill and so forth, and they, you know, win poker or not, win poker hand or not. So like in here, I feel like there's less other stuff in the environment. This is like the poker. This is like there's so much in, and you get so much out, and it's like it's a clean thing, and somehow it's like it's just more efficient, and it's like if I gamble at all, I'd want to do poker because I guess there's always sharks and hustlers, like people going around and doing that constantly. But like at the same time, like in principle, like there's something even about it, and somebody's getting that. Nobody's really taking anything out. It's I like it. I like it in terms of, I mean, like compared to everything else. Like there's a lot of ways you can spend your time online, right? There's a lot of things you can do. Places you can be.
Poker, I never thought of it. I should teach. Maybe I could do a show about poker. I'm one of those who can make money out of poker, live poker games, and what you should think about and what to scout out at the table and things like that when you're playing with live money. I wish I could film while I'm actually in a casino in a live poker table, but
I have never played poker.
It's
ever.
Very simple. I mean, if you just choose to play select hands, and of course other people will know that you're playing those select hands, there's just ways that you can play it. People who are there all the time, and if you go there like every weekend, like I used to go every weekend, and the same people are there, you know that they're there every day, every night. They got rolls of money, they'll lose rolls of money, depends on the night. They got suppliers, etc. But yeah, you just play the cards. Like they'll try to slow roll you. You just play tight and strong. You can get some money, leave. Bluff every once in a while. Play a low hand that they're not expecting. Just try to get something on the flop. Go all in. Most times you'll win. I mean, you're going to lose a couple of times. Like I've lost where they have like a 1 or 2% chance of getting that card. Like just one card out of the entire deck. River card, they'll get it, and I'm like, oh my God, my luck is that bad. But you know, it's fine. You're gonna get unlucky sometimes, but you basically play the odds, not just the odds, but the percentages. So
I was always just content enough to go roam and sit my ass down at those machines and have drinks served to me.
Yeah, people
home happy.
Yeah, a lot of people.
That's like a scratch off. That's like a scratch off or something. And then you have like the roulette wheel, and then you have like
roulette.
Pretty random. And then I guess you have blackjack, which is approaching more like skill or something, like and making that discernment between whatever. But
yeah.
I feel like somehow poker is like, you know, you got 5 people, you got this much money, $50, somebody's gonna win. Okay, somebody takes it. That seems to me like kind of gambling I want to do.
Yeah, so it's less reliant on chance. It's probably the game in the casino where it's mostly based on skill, or the most based on skill.
Well, luck is a big factor, but you limit the luck factor with skill. Is all it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's only,
but not as much.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What we should have are some like get together poker games one day. If we all manage to get together at like a convention or something, and
that'd be cool, yeah,
get together and just have like a poker night. We'll film it. We'll like talk about what we talk about, and you know, when we play our hand, people can see how we're playing.
I think in the future, though, I think the future, like, it'd be, I mean, I had this idea for like a discussion, like this kind of style discussion where you have, you know, instead of just the boxes and the windows, maybe it looks like you're at some table somehow, just even if it's corny way, and then like have all these people so that it, like, almost looks like they're in the same room. Of course, it wouldn't really work out that really well, but probably, but you know, at first, but then have like all these rooms connected to each other so that you go into this one place and you have like, you see like these windows of like windows, so like, or whatever, where you see like maybe there's like 8 discussions going on, and then you see how many people are watching each discussion, and then like, you know, how much, you know, so I don't know, maybe it's not much different than just old school chat rooms again, but yeah, maybe some people, more people are doing like video and stuff, so it's different like that, but it's instantaneous, I guess, rather than reading, and I don't know.
I'll be the bartender. I'll be happy to be your guys' bartender and keep the music going.
Yeah. I don't drink when I play poker. That's the only thing.
Well, you can. I said a bartender. That means anything. Coffee.
Oh, yeah. I think I don't drink water. Like, I don't even drink coffee. I like to keep just like my tells. Tells are important. I really like to do just random tells, whether it's just
tells.
Tell, Tell. So basically,
body language,
like a body language, where someone could pick up on it and say, like, if you really have a good hand, and like you kind of like, if you scratch, that's usually a sign of a bad hand. But sometimes, like if you do something like start shaking because you got such a good hand, people can see that. Yeah.
Make it don't leave, Evan.
Like people who have people will notice that rookies kind of forget the hands that they have, and if it's not a good hand, people will look again. So sometimes I'll like look again, and like a couple after I make a bet, I'll like look again. It can't be that strong of a hand if they're looking at the hand again, especially if on a flop, that means the first 3 cards that come up if we're playing Texas Hold'em are like 2 suited cards, like 2 hearts and then a spade, and you look at your hand again, you know, that kind of makes them think, oh, okay, he doesn't have that strong of a hand. He's seeing if he has a flush draw. So it probably isn't like an ace or king, but you know, things like that, trickery is always great because, yeah, anyways, we'll do it in the future.
See, but now we know your secret, Ebon.
I don't really have a secret.
You start telling.
That was good tips, though. That was good pointers. I think that's true. I think like whenever I know I'm amateur, and whenever I have a good hand, I'm like I'm opposite of that. I'm not looking back and slow. I'm like real fast. I'm like okay, I'll make it like. And so it's I'm like ready to go. Like okay, who wants to $5, whatever it is, 50.
Yeah. But basically, when you act is based on who you're playing. If you know, if it's someone that you don't really see that very often, they're not going to pick up on your little tells. But if you're going against someone who you always see that are there, that they're like just card sharks, you want to use every trick in the book to get them, especially when they don't really remember or recognize you. So, and also your race, your demeanor is also a big indicator. For Asians are considered to be very aggressive. So when I play, act like I'm playing aggressive. But I'll have actually a good hand because I'm playing to that advantage that, hey, Asians are aggressive. They may not have anything. So when they actually have a really great hand, when I play aggressive, they'll actually call. They may try to re-raise on the river, and I'll just re-raise it all in, making sure that the only cards that they can get are something that they're chasing for. So that's why they're calling. So many things you can play about, but it's fun if you can get to strategic part of poker.
Well, it was like a loose analogy, but like I just think that when you're streaming or scrolling through Twitter, there's all these ads, and then like there's just a lot of bullcrap, like you're talking about, even independent news and stuff. Like that's why I'm like not so hopeful about feeling like bunch of allies are going to get together and behind something, because it's like almost everything is just, there's problems with it. And maybe I'm just picky, but you know, but yeah, somehow in here it's just like a contained environment, and it's just, it is what it is. There's no ads, there's no not too much extra, so I like it.
What is?
So Ebon, when you play, what do you fast or something? Are you fasting the whole time you're playing poker?
I usually drink water. Sometimes if I need energy, I'll drink some green tea. That's a little bit caffeine, but basically I'm always in control. I don't shake, I don't twitch unless I purposely twitch or purposely shake. If I have a bad hand, that's a hand that where I'm kind of
Face blocking to
chasing.
win. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where I've got like maybe 12, 13 outs, and I'm just calling. Like I'll shake, make them think I got a strong hand, you know, and I won't look at my hand, make them think I've got a strong hand, makes them kind of wonder a bit and know that I'm not chasing. I'm just calling, making sure that, you know, maybe if they get a spade. If I have a flush draw with a spade, you know, I've got the ace, you know, they'll think, okay, he wasn't chasing, so I'm gonna bet strong, and I go all in. They're like, what's going on? I didn't put him as a flush draw, even though I was just basically calling. So who knows? Everyone plays differently, and sometimes the ones that get me are the ones that don't pick up on my cues. They're actually chasing. They're like, they might have like pocket eights, and then on the river an 8 comes along, and I'm like, I'm set, I guess. You know, I don't see him having a pocket 8 after betting so strong. But then, you know, I'm my mentality is playing against the really card sharks. The card sharks mentality are getting as much money from the people who don't know how to play poker. So I'm kind of like the reverse of the card sharks, the poker sharks, whatever you call it. I don't really focus on getting money from the amateurs, even though I may get some, play some hands and get them. Basically, I'm playing against these really professional everyday players because they'll mistake me as an amateur or an aggressive Asian. And so I usually get a few wins early on, and then I typically leave. Like, I'll play for an hour or two. I have rules when I play live poker. I have like, don't ever play for longer than 4 hour stretch. Always take a break. Never play for more than 8 hours in a day. Only buy in if I lose, like, so if it's like a 2-5 table or whatever, like $500, I'll have $1,000, and I don't ever buy in after that if I lose it all. I have a quota, so if I have $500, I'm playing with $500. If I win $500, I'm out. It doesn't matter how long I play. I mean, if I get it in the first 2 hands and I win $500, I'm out. And you know, $500 in like 15-30 minutes, I'm okay driving back home for like 2.5 hours. So, but sometimes I'll also, because what's happened before is I've won within like 30 minutes, had $1,500, and I played for extra like 4 hours, and I pretty much went down $300 from there. Because like, I just wasted 3 hours to lose like $300. It wasn't worth it. So when you make your run, take your money, go have the rest of the day to do whatever you want with the money if you want to spend it or whatnot. So it's it'll be fun talking about poker. I might do a show on poker, because there's strategy involved, there's psychology involved, there's math, odds involved, there's so much involved, and the best way to play is not even think about your money as money. You're just playing against your opponent or
Stevie and I are going all Kenny Rogers on you.
Kenny Rogers. Oh,
the gambler song.
Yeah.
That's the extent of my poker knowledge. I've never played it at all.
Mine too. I would sing that song with conviction, and then I'd think, why? You don't even know how to play the fucking game.
I mean, no matter what strategy you have, you still care about money. So like that's like 98% of people actually care about money, want to win money, don't want to lose money. So that's the given, that's the constant. You know that like there is no unknown. There is not everything is unknown, right? It would be fun. It would be really cool if money didn't matter. You could just go mess with people. Like I mean, Eric Andre one time walked into an Apple store with Google glasses on, and proceeded to like try to fix his own brand new like Apple laptop by hitting it with a hammer over and over again.
I mean,
freaking out, like what? Like I think he poured liquid on it and then beat it with the hammer.
I mean,
the guy couldn't figure it out, like, but he was recording it all on his Google glasses, and it was a great bit. So.
Yeah, you can't think about it as potentially losing money, because then you don't make the right call, you don't make the right bets, you don't make the right raises. There's been times where I probably put in like $4,000 in a couple of like re-raises and all-ins, and I didn't think about as losing $3,000 or whatever, $5,000. It was just about, I knew I won, and so of course, I won. But it's just, you kind of have to, like, when you know you've got the best hand at the end, at the river, it's like sometimes you don't want all in because they're going to fold. You want to bet enough where they're going to call so you can make the most out of your money. And also, when you play it that way, it also gets your opponent to think, it's like, why didn't he just go all in if he's got the best card? It's like, does he really have me beat? And they'll re-raise all in and you could call. So you've got to think a little bit ahead of what a person's thinking, and to maximize maximize your efficiency, I guess you could say, maximize your profit, and also minimize your losses when you've got a hand you think they've got a stronger hand. You're waiting for an out. So much to it. There's I don't know. I love playing poker. I could play poker. I could be one of those guys who are like 80 years old and just play poker all night, but I feel like it's not as it's fun, but I found
a really cool chess YouTube channel. There's all kinds of them actually. I'm terrible at it, and I tried. I thought I was okay. I just play random people, but then once you play people who are decent at it, and then I downloaded the app a long time ago, and it was like, I think my record was like 40-2. Like lost 40 times, like, because this regular people who are on there all the time apparently are amazing compared to me. But and I had this other friend, this Chinese guy, who just like basically just got a basic tutorial thing and looked at that for a little while, and all of a sudden I couldn't beat him ever. So it's like, I guess that's me. I'm weird. I like go about learning things on my own. Takes longer, I guess.
No, I do the same as well. But Ebon, is that stereotype true about Asians being aggressive?
Oh yeah,
is it Asians often in general, like Asians, like foreign Asians or Asians American?
Any Asian that you see, they're going to be more aggressive than not.
Foreign Asian.
And I play into that.
The difference between oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I play really aggressive when I have a really good hand, and when I don't have when I have a decent hand, not a strong hand, or I'm playing behind a button, I'll play pretty passive. I make them think I'm chasing after something by just calling, and then at the end I'll re-raise, and they'll be like, "Oh, this guy's been slow playing me all this time." So there's a lot of factors. Positioning is involved, and also who you're going against, and you have to kind of figure out what their hand is.
Where does snow playing come from?
Slow playing.
Oh.
So you're playing them slow. You don't want them to guess what your hand is. So you're calling. They'll make a bet, you call. They'll make a stronger bet, you call. And then they're like, okay, if they think I'm chasing, they're gonna bet a really large amount at the river, or at the turn, which means before the last card hits, to get me out of the hand. So they'll bet strong, and I at this point know that I have the better hand, because I may have made a set or a full house already, and he thinks I'm still going for like a straight or a flush. And so I'll re-raise, and I'll re-raise based on amount where I think he might call, or if he doesn't have enough chips, I'll just go all in. And sometimes they'll just go call in all in because they know they don't have enough chips. They'd rather maximize their bet. So you kind of have to think what they're thinking to make decisions, and not just think on your own what your own hand is. So slow playing is making them bet as much into the pot before you make a move to let them know what exactly you've got.
Oh, that has to be fun. There has to be a rush in that.
Yeah, it's like a psychological game too. It's fun. Like if you can actually bluff too, like I don't bluff often, and a lot of Asians do bluff, which also plays into my favor. Asians are notorious for bluffing and being aggressive, and I'm pretty much the opposite of that. But sometimes how you present your personality also matters. So what I try to do, like I'm pretty like this normally when I try to play. But when I first go to a table, I go, hi, I'm friendly, I talk, I make jokes. And then like when I win a few hands and I'm starting to play serious, and they can't really guess where I'm coming from. Like, this guy, I can't peg this guy. So the only times I lose is when I'm pretty much out of luck. But it's fun. It's like a big acting job plus a big calculation job, a big reading other people job, figuring out where your position is compared to the rest of the table job, like memorizing how people play, if they switch things up, if they play the same. So it's just so much going on, and it's I don't know, it's fun.
So basically all the same skills as fishing.
Yes. No, just kidding.
It only takes one good bluff, right? Sometimes.
You typically don't really want to bluff.
Hanging the bait out there.
Oh, yeah.
Jerking it in.
Wouldn't you want to like bluff?
Whether you're getting a fish or not.
Wouldn't you want them to think you're bluffing when you're not bluffing, and to think you're not bluffing when you are?
Yeah. I will rarely bluff. The times that I will bluff is when I've been winning a lot of hands, and I will bluff because people start psychologically, they're like, this guy's winning everything. It doesn't matter what he has. So you can start bluffing a little bit, and that's how I bluff. I don't ever bluff at the start and show people my hand and you know, this guy's a bluffer, because then that just ruins the way I play, because they'll call everything, even if I have something strong, and so it's just harder to play that way. So I'd like to play very conservative and make big moves when I have a feeling I got them pegged. And it's a feeling too. I mean, it's thought process, but it's also a kind of a feeling. Sometimes you have to listen to your gut and not just your head.
Your intuition, yeah.
Yeah.
How about when you're bluffing that you're bluffing? Or when you're bluffing that you're bluffing that you're not bluffing that you're bluffing? So you get into different layers, deeper layers.
Yeah, I don't get that far. I don't like
the play within the play within the play.
Yeah.
Shakespeare.
Yeah, don't outthink yourself. When you outthink yourself in poker, that does no one any good.
I played chess against a guy, and I guess we didn't establish like a time limit. And he would take like 4 minutes or 5 minutes between each move, sometimes longer. And I was like, and he was like literally thinking out, I think, every possible. He's just like this pretty big nerd.
Yeah. But it's gotten, I don't know if it's just me or just things in general, like playing video games. It's like I don't have the patience for chess anymore. At least the 2-hour long games. It's like speed chess, and you see that a lot. Speed chess is very popular.
Yeah. Now, does that stereotype with Asians that extend to other Asians? Like, I mean, do you mean Asians like just? I hate to use that word, Oriental, or I mean Asians like Indians, you know, Lebanese. They're Asian, technically.
Yeah. I would say East Asians.
East Asians.
Yeah. Like,
thank you. That's
like Chinese, Japanese, Korean, basically, and Filipino. Notorious for being pretty aggressive.
Just spit it out, Christian.
Yeah.
We're amongst friends. We'll clean it up afterwards.
India, you could consider Indians in that realm of being aggressive too.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe you could lump in every Asian as being aggressive in poker.
Like Kazakh, Turkmen, Lebanese, like
Yeah.
I said.
Yeah, they are pretty aggressive. Now that I think of it, so you gotta play to your advantage. Like if you can be that one person that kind of, because the first thing that a professional does is see how your first impressions at the table. If you're very, like, I'm a pretty calm person, I have a calm demeanor. When I'm there, I go, "Hey, how's it going? Oh, have you seen that movie or have you seen that game?" And I'm like excited. My first hand, I'm like shaking. I'm like looking at the hands again, and like I'll knowingly mistake putting in what the amount of blinds is. Like if someone raised 10 and I go, I raise and I'll put $15 out there, you have to double any raise. So dealer goes, you have to put 5 more. I go, what? You got to put 5 more. $5? And they go, yeah. So I kind of play my initial run at a table like I'm an amateur, and playing it to my favor. So people are like, oh, I could take money from this guy. That's their first thought as a professional. This kid doesn't know how to play. He's probably drunk. Sometimes I'll show up with like a beer, even though I'm not drinking it. I just find a beer from a trash can or a beer from a leftover table, and I just carry it with me. They think I'm drunk.
Sorry.
Right?
Look at what Bruns just wrote.
What?
You should talk with an accent too.
That's a good one, Bruins.
What did Bruins? I didn't see it. What do you write?
He goes, I like to play slow backgammon, drives aggressive Asians crazy, waiting for me to take their turn.
Brad.
Oh, Mahjong. Yeah, another one.
Yeah. But I don't know how we got off topic.
This is all right. That's fun.
Yeah.
So somebody said, do you use an accent?
No, I can't make a fake Asian accent, even if I tried.
I mean, but that would be like an extra like veil of like disconnect between getting you at all, you know. If you like spoke little English, like, oh, my English, you know, just like,
oh, no English,
learn an accent for a couple words, then you can have an excuse not to talk much, and that would be
Just
good.
learn a Russian accent. That'll really fuck people up.
It was this time I was hanging out in China, and they were in Beijing, Wuliaoko, and there were like two guys in our party through couch surfing, who they were like from Russia, and they were ethnically Chinese, and they were speaking like Russian the entire time. If they speak a little Chinese every once in a while, and they basically just felt comfortable. We were hanging out drinking like all night, like 4 or 5 hours, basically, just all Russian. It's just what they felt comfortable with. I asked them. I mean, like, even though maybe other people felt like looking at them because, you know, they're Chinese in Beijing. Yeah. Whatever.
God, I know things really aren't all that funny tonight, but I am just like responding that way. I think I'm just decompressing or something.
Middle of the week, a lot of crazy news out there. I mean, you got to decompress somewhere.
Yeah.
Most of the country just spent like 10 days talking about some memo.
I mean, the memo is important, but still, yeah. I mean, it's kind of out of our hands. What are we really going to do? We just.
And it feels so good right now to get away from all that shit.
Yeah.
I did we were talking about immigrants earlier. And I made me think about this movie, My Favorite Brunette, with Bob Hope from 1947. You guys know who Peter Lorre is? You recognize him. He was in a bunch of stuff. Anyways, with his character, he's, you know, obviously an immigrant. And Bob he's a baby photographer, but he gets mistaken for as a private detective. So he goes around, takes this case, and it's funny. So I'm gonna play this little scene. It's on YouTube. So.
Here goes another strike. You guys are gonna get me kicked off.
No, but I think it's public domain too. The movie, the whole movie's online and shit. So.
Okay, well, we'll see.
I think so.
The Weather Channel's been on my ass, so just no weather stuff. They're the ones who terminated one of my videos, and I think
Yes,
it's
that's
because
right.
I was playing back like news.
How does the Weather Channel do that?
They'd be sending you threatening letters, Ebon.
Well, that's not working.
People coming to your house.
It was working.
Did you see them?
Yeah, we saw it.
it.
Yeah, I did.
Motherfucker. All right, there we go. You see that?
Yep, we see it.
All right.
I think everybody's crazy.
Yeah, but with you, they had a head start.
Oh, no, wait a minute. You gotta listen to me. You gotta trust me, fellas. This is the biggest frame-up since Whistler's mother.
Thank you.
Wait a minute.
Keep moving. You got a long drive back to town.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something.
What?
I like long drives.
Get going.
Okay.
And if you bother us again, I'll personally punch you in the nose so hard it'll look like other people's noses.
Yeah, well, it might be worth it.
We'll see.
Sorry we bothered you. You're not a bad guy for a foreigner.
But I'm going to be a citizen. I'm studying for my examination. By the way, could you gentlemen tell me who was the 8th president of the United States?
I just thought that was fucking.
Yeah.
That's rich.
You know, and it's the truth. It's like some of these people studying to, you know, become citizens know more about, you know, our history, know more.
All right. So who is the 8th president of the United States? Trivia. No cheating.
But I was just getting ready to look it up.
Martin Van Buren.
No, No.
Yeah.
Was he 8? He might. Oh yeah, because Jackson was 7th, right?
Jackson,
And then
yep.
it was Buren.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Aha. Of course, if we account for the real first and second president, never mind. I'm going too far.
What's too far? What's that phrase mean?
Like there were supposedly 2 presidents before George Washington was president, and it wasn't because it was different.
Yeah, Ben Franklin was one of them.
Yeah, I don't remember too much about that. I just remember reading about it and was like, whoa, that's true. They don't teach that in school though.
Yeah,
Anytime someone mentions George Washington, I just hang my head, knowing I'm a distant cousin to him.
Yeah. Ben Franklin was one of the original presidents.
Okay. Yeah, he gets overlooked. Like I overlook it too. Do you remember who the second one? I can never remember the real first president. Like
he was the second. I believe Hancock was the first one.
Was it John Hancock? Really?
The guy that signed the paper. Big.
No, I don't think it was John Hancock.
Sure.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. Who's the history teacher here? Come on. Yeah, it's amazing the things that you had to find out after school, especially public schools.
Wish we could get a whole bunch of history out of work history majors together for discussions, because I could listen to that forever or all night or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I remember. There's a lot that like you don't learn. Like when I used to walk home from school, this is in Federal Way High School, Federal Way, and I was in Illahee Junior High School, and I would walk by the aquatic center all the time. Oh, hey James, how's it going?
Hey James.
Anyways,
history is always just more complex. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah. So when I'm walking home, and I used to walk home with a huge backpack full of books just to get stronger, and when you walk past the aquatic center, there's like the 50 state flags, and it's in alphabetical order, but I would try to memorize and name I'll like walk and I'll just look up and try to look at just the flag and see which state flag it was. And
Are you kidding? It was in alphabetical order?
Yeah.
I never noticed that.
Yeah. So James, are you able to host tonight with your Mana Talk?
Mana.
We can't hear him.
I can't hear you, brother.
Is his hair cut?
It looks like his hair is cut.
Yeah. Oh my God, I think he's shaved too.
Oh, Kelly's on too. Okay.
Hey, Kelly.
Hey,
How's it going?
Kelly.
Great to see you.
So, Kelly, if you're going to talk about the Unrigged Summit, I want to stop the stream and rename it.
Okay, hang on. That's me. Sorry. I haven't done this in a while.
Revolve around, revolve around, revolve.
There we go.
All right. So if James, we can't hear you. Can you type if you're going to be streaming?
I just had to put on my audio. Sorry.
No problem.
Hi, James.
Are you going to be
So
starting?
you're not hosting?
Hey, Kelly. Hey, guys. Just hanging in the backyard.
Okay. So I'm going to stop the stream. I'm going to
Powerade.
What does it say on the side of that cup?
Slurpee?
Oh.
I don't know.
It says
Clinton.
no. It's something of the great American burger. It's Carl's Jr.
I don't know. I thought I saw I'm with her. Is that right? Just kidding. Okay, guys.
That's exactly. It says the great American burger, and I'm with her.
Okay.
No, they had those at the Unrig the System. So not kidding.
Okay. All right. So
Okay, I'll shut up.
I'm gonna stop the stream. I'm gonna rename it, and it's gonna be Kelly talks about the Unrigged Summit, and then also anything goes open topic.
Okay,
So,
cool.
go ahead and stay on, and everyone who's watching, Rainbow Boom X. I'll restart the stream with the different titles.
And I'm gonna have a